Subject of today's video, as you've no doubt guessed from the title, is painting white. And the more astute of you may notice that two of the models are primed with white and one of them is primed with black. So how are we going to get to white with any of these guys? Well, I'm glad you asked. This guy, the black guy, what we're going to do is we're going to take some greys. So we're going to start off with, this is Mechanicus standard grey. As I've managed to get the bottle sprayed orange at some point, sorry about that. And we're going to do that with the airbrush pretty much from the angle you're looking at them now. So trying to keep some of the dark shadows black, but bringing the rest of the model up to a darkish grey. Then we're going to go up to dawnstone, and that's going to be more from an above angle. So again, trying to keep the dark shadows with the grey. I don't even know how this is going to work. And then we're going to go with celestia grey. And this is about the third take where I have managed to not call it celestia grey, because yes, I was watching My Little Ponies with my daughters earlier on today and it just gets in your head. Anyway, no. And then we're going to go with dead white. Dead white, probably dead from above, so pure zenithal straight down, picking the highlights out with the airbrush. Might swap to the brush to give them a couple of extra highlights, but we're going to try to keep the airbrush because this is supposed to be a speed paint test. That's what we want to do for batch painting. I'm doing my Sisters of Battle with white power armor, and I don't fancy doing, spending, an hour for each model. I want a speed paint. I'm not interested in winning a golden demon with this. I'm never going to win a golden demon. I'm not that good. If there was an equivalent, of the raspberries or the raspies, whatever it is, that thing for crap movies for painting, I'd win that every time. Anyway, next guy. First white guy, what we're going to do is a nice simple Apothecary White, but we are going to thin it down. I've had much more success with the contrast paints when they're thinned with the contrast medium. Usually 2 parts medium to 1 part paint works best for me, so that's what I'm going to try. It might take a couple of coats. Again, for speed painting I don't mind taking a couple of coats of that because I can whack it on each model in the army, leave it to dry, go and play a game or do whatever and come back and do it, so that's I'm okay with. Leaving things to dry doesn't detract from speed painting as far as I'm concerned. The last guy, we're going to try something a bit more fun. We're going to start with our contrast medium again, but instead of adding a contrast paint, we're going to add some nuln oil. So the intent of that is that it will run into all the recesses and shade them right the way down. Might need a bit of highlighting back up with the dead white, but I just want to try that to see what it looks like. And then at the end of the video, you guys can judge which one you think is best. I do want to know that because I'll give my opinion, obviously, being a loudmouth opinionated person, but I'll be interested to know what you guys think as well. So let me know in the comments what you think of this. Alright, and we're going to get started with the Apothecary White. So this is our first sacrificial victim of the evening. We want to do him with the Apothecary White and the put that there, the contrast medium. So what we're going to do is shake it. Always shake your paints. Don't shake your beers, shake your paints. Never get those two mixed up ever. 1 2 3 4 5. That should do. We don't need as much of the grey, so you can see how much that is, so just drop that in there. And before we do, yeah, nearly. So I'm just going to use. So we're just taking a shade brush. And again, so, and with the contrast paints, it is literally just throw them on and make sure there's no pulling. I've had to adjust the brightness on the camera to account for the fact that he's white, so it does tend to swamp the camera out, but hopefully you can see that the grey that is the contrast paint has sunk into all his recesses. So I'm going to leave him to dry and he'll get another coat in a minute. In the meantime, I'm just going to drop that over that, which makes a nice little lid to keep the paint nice and wet. So we'll wait for that to dry and we'll do another coat. He's had his first coat. You can see the basic effect. I'm going to throw another coat on and see what that looks like, and then we'll come back after that. Okay, that's him after the second coat of Apothecary White has dried. Doesn't look too bad. It is a little blue, but I'm not sure if that's just an effect of the blue matte behind it. But I think with a little bit of trim painted up and some highlights put on him with the white paint, he'll look quite good. So we're going to move on and do the nuln oil now. So here we go, we're about to start mini number 2. This one has the contrast medium and nuln oil, so a bit more than that maybe. That'll do. Don't want to waste too much. And the nuln oil, so we'll give that a shake. And right, I'm going to mix that up and see what it looks like. Alright, it goes a bit grey, but that's to be expected. So now I'll get my brush and I'm going to paint this up and then we'll come back. Alright, so there we have the 2 painted minis so far. On the left, the Apothecary White. On the right, the nuln oil heavily diluted with the contrast medium. So in fact was the Apothecary White. But they need highlighted up. Obviously they look a bit, especially the nuln oil looks a bit grubby. Could be the look you're going for. We're going to try the black primed mini now. And we're going to airbrush him up with the first one is Mechanicus standard grey in my slightly orange pot. Okay, there he is with Mechanicus standard grey. We're going to try with the dawnstone. This is going to be taken again almost from straight in front, maybe 10-15 degrees up. Okay, there he is after the dawnstone layer. So hopefully you can see the shadows or the undersides. I'm trying to keep a little bit darker. It doesn't really matter at this point. I'm just gradually building him up. The next one we're going to do is probably a big jump to celestia grey. Might be too big a jump, but hopefully it'll do the job. So we'll see. There he is with his celestia grey. I know it's tricky to get the white balance on a camera right, trust me, but he's not that far off the other guys. He's that little bit darker maybe, but it's not far. So I think with the white highlight, he'll be done with the airbrush. The other 2 guys done with the paintbrush probably. But with the white as the next stage, I think this will look quite good. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to hit them with white. Well, we're going to hit him with white, see how he goes. Alright, there he is, fully highlighted up. I'm actually really pleased with the way he's come up. Should give you a rough idea. You can see the whites look quite white. The other ones are a wee bit darker. The other 2 at the back, because obviously they don't have their pure white shining through. They've had a little bit of paint over the top, which dulls them down a little, drops them, makes them a bit darker. So with highlighting them up, I think they'll look really good too. I'm going to highlight them with the brush because I think if you have an airbrush, you'd probably do the airbrush route. By the way, the airbrush I'm using for this isn't one of my expensive ones. Well, my only expensive one, which is actually like the cheapest main airbrush brand you can get. But it's a little cheapy gold aluminium airbrush from Amazon that cost me like 12 quid. So you don't need to spend big money. Now you're not going to do fine detail with it, but meh. I'm just going to do a quick side by side of the 3 models so far. This is basically the first stage completed. So what we have with this guy, this is the airbrushed fella. It's probably not as dramatic as I was hoping. I may have gone a bit overboard, but it's still good. I mean, you could still play with it. It would be absolutely fine. It'll probably pick up a bit when the details are painted on, but compare that to... So this is the Apothecary White one, which has been highlighted up. basically Apothecary White straight over the white primer. Then it was highlighted up using the white paint. What you can see there, I think it sort of shows it off. I think it'll really pick up when the details are painted on. I mean, he's not bad. Not bad at all. Next one we've got. Now, so far to me, this is the standout one. This is the best. And what I might do is combine this method with the nuln oil and the contrast medium. Combine that with the airbrush to highlight it. I think that might be the best way. So literally prime them white, maybe give them a base of another white as well, but certainly start off white, hit them with the nuln oil and the contrast mix, then highlight them up again with the airbrush. But for now I'm just going to leave this one as is. But for now that's what we've got. So this is what we're going to do with these. We have taken our lessons learnt from the reivers, and especially the sister Amelia Novena, whatever her name is. What we've got is a lovely Zenithal white, very subtle, building it up. What I'm going to do now is throw on a coat of the nuln oil contrast medium mix, just to let it settle in the recesses, just to bring out the details. Same with the Canoness Viridian, or whatever her name was. We're going to do the same thing with her. Bring out the details, make the details really pop, and then we're going to touch it up again with the airbrush, just to bring out the tips of the toes, the raised areas in the greaves, the arm, and there's a few spots in the back as well we want to do. So that's what we're going to do for the sisters. It's actually a surprisingly easy technique with the airbrush. With a paintbrush, yeah, you probably just start off with a white primer and then use the nuln oil and then highlight it up with a white. I think that's the way we're going to do it, but I'm just leaving you here. And if you want to see the finished article or what I do from here on in, let me know in the comments, and I'll do a video of painting some battle sisters with the white armor with the full technique. Okay, until then, I'll see you next time. If you've made it this far, thanks very much for watching. There's another couple of videos there you can click on. You can click on the subscribe button if you want to, like the video if you want to, stick a comment down if you've anything to say, and in the meantime, happy wargaming, and I'll see you next time.